So the SEGA Mini is officially announced and there are so many good news, and I want to go ahead and start this video like this. SEGA! What's up everybody, 𝐒𝐍𝐀𝐏 bringing you the awesomeness of today and beyond. SEGA Japan has recently made some huge announcement, and it is about the SEGA Mini Classic. And guys, the SEGA Mini Classic hands down is going to be the shit. I'm calling it right now. It's going to be the shit because of these updates. Hell, I actually pre-ordered myself a SEGA Mini Classic right now, and I'm super excited for it. I really can't wait to get this console, unbox it, do a full-on hands-down review for it. Now, I do know what you guys are thinking. The whole mini consoles, especially now, is pretty saturated, and I do understand that part. And the reason is because if you look at Nintendo and their Super Nintendo SNES and the NES Mini Classic, Nintendo has officially set the bar of what it is to go ahead and be a mini classic. The thing is, the PlayStation, Sony has failed with the PlayStation Mini Classic, and they did a really bad job. The emulation was bad, it was poor, and believe it or not, the price tag of the PlayStation Mini Classic went from, I believe, $100 down to $40. So yeah, not that great. And if you want to go and pick it up, by all means go for it, pick it up, but it's not that great. In my opinion, you're better off in picking up either the SNES or the NES Mini Classics. Also, I do believe that Nintendo will go ahead and create the N64 Mini Classic. It's coming down the way, it's coming down. But here's the thing, if you remember back in April 2018, when SEGA has announced the SEGA Mini Classic, that they're actually going to go ahead and develop it, everybody was excited. I was super excited because I love the SEGA Genesis console. Hell, I also have the original SEGA Genesis console with me, which I use it to go ahead and stream my games on Twitch. Like even right now when I'm playing, I stream it on Twitch. But here's the thing. And when SEGA made an announcement for the SEGA Mini Classics, the problem is they also announced who they were working with, and it was with Team at Games. They are not the best when it comes to track records of building those clone consoles. You can go on YouTube and just type in at Games consoles and look at all the consoles that they have developed. But if you look at the hardware stuff, it's bad. Emulation is poor, the video is poor, and also sometimes you get glitches and whatnot. There's no quality control at all, and they have a really bad track record of that. And that's why when people saw the announcement that SEGA is actually working with Ad Games on that part, yeah, everybody just walked away. Hell, I did not even want to think about it. Like I had hopes for SEGA, but you know, my hopes went from there and then just like dropped. But now things are changing, especially with these new updates coming from SEGA. So what are the new updates? First off, it's who they're developing the console, the Mini Classic console with. First off, good news, they cut off ties with Ad Games, so they're not working with Ad Games, but instead they're actually working with one of my favorites, Team, when it comes to taking the classic games and actually bringing it to the newer generation of hardware, and that is Team M2. Now if you don't know who Team M2 is, Team M2 are the underdogs of these. They take basically the classic games, they code them in a way that it works for the newer consoles. They code them that the sound is correct, the video is correct, everything's correct, and plus they enhance it, they add stuff to it, and they do a really good job. There has been nothing but positive reviews about when it comes to Team M2 and developing, you know, SEGA games. Like when SEGA hands over Team M2 their games, they take care of it. It's like their baby. They take care of it, okay? And they do a very good job. A good example is the PlayStation games, the SEGA Ages, which they're notoriously known for, the SEGA Ages collection. Hell, you can also find some of the SEGA Ages collection right now on the Nintendo Switch. So if you go on the Nintendo eShop and look at Thunder Force 4, you can actually get the perfect emulation of Thunder Force 4 because it is recoded by Team M2 and they have added extra stuff to it. Essentially, Thunder Force that's on the Switch is the Sega Saturn version, but it's ported to the Switch, and they have done an amazing job with it. Now, keep in mind, I do understand that you would be like, hey, I can go and play these games on my PC, but again, as explained, the problem with emulators is that they do not code the sound of the YM2612, the FM synthesizer chip that's within the original hardware, is not coded properly on emulators. That's why in some games their sound is off. They just sound terrible. Another thing to note is that there has been a lot of SEGA Genesis video games in a collection bundle format that has been released in various console platforms, the likes of which is the recent SEGA Genesis game collection developed by D3T Limited for the Nintendo Switch and was previously on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. Believe it or not, this SEGA Genesis game collection is not recoded the same way that game developers M2 recodes an original SEGA Genesis video game. That is because the game developers M2 recodes the original SEGA Genesis video games from the ground up instead of just relying on just ROM dump backups and calling it a day. The main reason for this is, believe it or not, to this day, emulators still that tried to emulate the original SEGA Genesis hardware could not emulate it to 100% through just software. However, should you want to, your best bet is to do it through an FPGA chip. But going through that approach only using just a ROM backup dump and not tweaking it at all will only leave you with bad music audio. And to me, this does not do justice for the SEGA Genesis console music department, as it is well known to have the best sound during the 16-bit era. Let's take a look at a good example of this bad audio phenomena. Here's an old tweet that I have previously tweeted out to game developers D3T Limited and Sega about the sound quality within these types of SEGA Genesis game collections. Let us take a look at that video because I can assure you that the difference is night and day. What's up guys, it's 𝐒𝐿𝐴 bringing you the awesomeness of today and beyond. I'm here to talk about an important issue, and it actually has to deal with this guy. So this guy right here, there's the SEGA Genesis Classic that I got for the Nintendo Switch, as you can see right there. Look at that, this is the SEGA Genesis Classic for the Nintendo Switch. The problem deals with the emulation and why I keep on stressing that the original hardware is way better than this junk. I'm very, very disappointed. Let me show you what I mean. So here's the original hardware hooked up, and it actually deals with the audio. So I'm going to go ahead and put this volume up, and I'm going to go to track 5. That sounds good, right? Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead into here. That is awful. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Nasty. Well, there you have it. This is due to emulators that have a tough time in trying to emulate a certain sound chip called the YM2612 FM synth chip that is found on board the original SEGA Genesis hardware. Which is why, if you plan on bringing any video games from the vast SEGA Genesis library to modern hardware, or on a game collection bundle via disc or digital download, you have to recode these games from the ground up, just like the game developers M2 does. Now when it comes to the newer console, which is done by Analog as a premium Sega, that console is great, but it's super expensive. But that's why you have something called the SEGA Mini, and you have not 10 games, but 10 games have been recently announced, but you have a total of, I believe, 40 games in that Mini, and it's just going to be great. So now what about the package? The thing is, there are two variants of the Sega Mini consoles. You have the US variant where it comes with two D-pads, and it is the classic 3-button D-pads, and Japan is going to have its own variant, but instead of having the 3-button D-pad, they're going to have the 6-button D-pad. Now personally for me, I would much rather have the 6-button D-pads, but I don't want a Japanese console, so I guess I'm gonna go with the US variant. But the good news is that they're both USB, so you can go ahead and plug in any controller you want to, so there are so many options. It's just that it's personal preference. Like, do you want 6 buttons or do you want 3 buttons? But keep in mind that the US variant, if you paid $80, you're going to be getting 2 D-pads, the console. With the Japanese variant, there are 2 boxes. One box comes with 1 controller, and that is the 6-button, and the other one comes with 2 controllers. But yeah, as for games, the Japanese does have a few slight variation in games, but all in all, this is just amazing news. I'm super excited. And now, regarding my pre-order, I've pre-ordered the Sega Mini, not one device, well, I actually pre-ordered 2, and there's a very good chance that I might do a future giveaway down the line, if I hit a certain milestone, that is. But if I do, the giveaway is going to happen. And also keep in mind, you guys, I do understand that I haven't made a video in a long time, and the reason is because I've been streaming on Twitch. Yes, I've been streaming on Twitch, and also the best way to go ahead and get in contact with me or reach out to me is through the Discord, which I will leave down in the description box below. We have an amazing community there of content creators, streamers, artists, you name it, it's all there. But do read the rules when you join in the Discord. And also for any tech related stuff, if you need help on how to stream, if you need help on repairs and whatnot, there is a tech area on how to go ahead and do stuff in the Discord. But yeah, you guys, I've been recently streaming on Twitch. It's been an amazing journey, and I have reached my goals. Hell, I also did a giveaway during my live stream on Twitch, and that was a $50 giveaway, which somebody actually won. It's just, all in all, it was amazing. And hopefully you get to go ahead and join me in live on Twitch, where I go ahead and stream some of the latest video games. With that said, you guys, I'm super excited about the Sega Mini. I can't wait, and the release date is going to be on September 19, 2019. Yeah, that's a date. That's a date. And also, there's something else that I just completely forgot that I wanted to add. And here's something that you might want to consider thinking about this. What are the chances that while this is a mini console, what are the chances that this small mini is kind of like a foreshadowing down the line that maybe Sega is actually going to consider coming back into the console? Maybe, we don't know. Maybe down the line of the year 2021. Anything is possible, man, anything. With that being said, this is 𝐒𝐿 signing out. I'll see you guys next time, either on Twitch or on Discord. Catch you later.